Hello, my name is Sophia Garner, and today I'm going to talk about the question, is capitalism racist? And I'm also going to talk about the link between capitalism and racism and the history of capitalism and racism in the United States. Okay, why capitalism as it functions today is not working. Um, Capitalism operates under the assumption that everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed in a free market, which is simply false. A lot of people are living under all sorts of inequalities, economic inequalities. Some people have more money than others, which provides some people with more opportunities than others. White people are going to have more opportunities than Black people or people of color because they're not going to be experiencing racism as another obstacle. Um, and the capitalistic system in America has led to a huge wealth gap in the United States, with 1% of the nation holding 40% of the nation's wealth, which is simply insane. And most people have no idea about the actual facts and figures about that. And Jeff Bezos is incredibly close to becoming the world's first trillionaire, which is like absolutely insane in terms of the wealth that he holds versus the rest of the nation. Yeah, it's just crazy. Capitalism started on the plantation, and that's to say that the economic boom that happened at the very at in the United States was made off the backs of slaves, of slavery. The American economy would not be what it is today without slavery. That was the first huge boost in the American economy. And this capitalistic system would not be the way it is today without slavery. Slavery left, but capitalism remained under Jim Crow. So even though slavery was gone, Black people were still making significantly less than their white counterparts. They were earning about 50% of what their white counterparts were earning during the Jim Crow era. And they were still being exploited by the same system of capitalism. So they weren't slaves anymore, but they were still being exploited as poor working class people and poor working class Black people. Um, Yeah, they're being exploited the same simultaneously by racism and capitalism. And capitalism is just worse if you're already Black because you're going to be experiencing racism as well. Here's a quote from Martin Luther King. The segregation of the races was really a political stratagem employed by the emerging Bourbon interests in the South to keep the Southern masses divided and the Southern labor the cheapest in the land. So we can dissect this quote a little bit. Bourbon interest just means conservative interest. It was a phrase meaning if there's a phrase that was referring to bourbon Democrats, which just meant people holding Democrats holding conservative interests in the South. Um, and the part about the Southern masses divided and the Southern labor the cheapest in the land is really anti-capitalist rhetoric. This is a similar idea to what to something Marx has been saying about how racism and the segregation of races really divides the working class and makes it so people see each other as different from one another, and they can't see each other, the whole working class, as the same. And this division among the working class, the rich, the bourgeoisie, then exploit, and that creates this cheap labor in the land. And this is a Martin Luther King quote. And we can talk about this a little bit more. The idea of segregation of race is a political stratagem. So nothing is by accident. These all these systems were created to help and abet each other. And this is a little bit what I talked about before. Segregating races helps the capitalist agenda. It divides people. The labor